Kelly.
Hey, Hayley.
Snoochie says hi.
Oh, hi.
She sat watching. And she sat watching and says hello to you joining us for A Measure of Marketing, episode 28, all about SEO and GEO, which is Search Engine Optimization and Generative Engine Optimization.
What a mouthful.
Well, you have to explain the acronyms because I don't do jargon, but
all of the acronyms, huh?
Yeah. I think SEO, I think people are aware of the acronym and they kind of know roughly what it is, but may not understand the principles behind it or the techniques. And GEO is very new to everyone, as is AI, and it's all kind of bubbling and people trying to understand what GEO is and how they can make it work for their website. So I think that's going to fuel our discussion, isn't it, really?
Yes. And I guess we'll call this an intro and the basics, because the GEO, everyone is still learning. Everyone is asking lots of questions. And there's going to be people who are specialists in this area already, because it's their niche. So they will dive deep into it. So I guess, yeah, just for like sanity checking for anyone that's listening, is you don't need to know it all straight away. Like, lots of people are still figuring it all out, me included, for definite. So yeah, and there'll always be changing things and there'll always be new things that come in. So yeah, go to people that it's in their like mind and it's in their world already. If you don't understand it yourself, like, go and ask marketing people like us for some advice, rather than like battling through and things like that. It's just the
yeah
first thing.
Yeah, my understanding is quite broad rather than deep, and obviously SEO specialists will have this. Well, they'll be totally all over this of how to advise their clients, and how to tweak how they're optimizing their site. So GEO becomes part of their way of creating content and writing for the web. I suppose for people to understand the difference, it might be worth saying SEO is how you optimize your website and your content for traditional search engines such as Google or Bing, whereas GEO, Generative Engine Optimization, is a way of optimizing your website for content and for it to appear in generative AI search engines such as ChatGPT. And there are different techniques for GEO, although from what I understand, GEO adopts most of the SEO principles of ensuring you have quality evergreen content, and your vitals on your website. So we mean things like using small picture image size, alt tags, alternative tags for your imagery, particular headings that you need to use for SEO. And we covered this before in a previous episode, I know. But there are certain ways that people can optimize the site to appear in ChatGPT. But my question to you is something that I've been thinking of is, are people comfortable with the idea of their site appearing in ChatGPT? Because people still haven't got their heads around it of, is ChatGPT a good thing? Should I be using it? And the last episode, we kind of spoke about this, but are people going to go to the efforts to appear in something that they don't fully understand yet?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think sometimes as well, we think, like, I always just think about how I use ChatGPT. And to be honest, like, I use Google way less than I ever have before. Like, I'd be going to Google to ask all sorts of questions, Google or YouTube. And now I literally go to ChatGPT to ask it everything. And I haven't really consciously done that. I think it's just been a subconscious thing. Like, I realized that I was using it for my business and asking questions. Like, for example, at the weekend, I was like home alone, had some chill time, downtime, and was just thinking about my business and different ideas, and just was literally on ChatGPT asking it questions all weekend. And when I sit back, I'm like, how funny how my behavior has just changed towards that. So this shift and movement of people and how they're actually using a new tool now is just mind-blowing. But then I'm like, well, I do it, but not everybody does. Like, I will still speak to people, and I think we said this in the last episode, I'll still speak to people that will say, I've heard about ChatGPT, but I don't know how to use it. So I guess we're all in that very early stage, and be mindful that there's big pockets of people that it's their world, and then there's big pockets of people that still are not using it. So we're in that very limbo stage. We're not in Google state at the minute by any means. So yeah, and that the question around how comfortable people feel, and there's that whole like data protection bit that hasn't really been refined yet in it. No, it's still at the top of minds for a lot of businesses and a lot of big brands, and the way that we use it, that feels, I don't want to say scary, but sometimes if I think about it too much, I'm like, ew, where's that gonna go? Yeah, good point. Like,
yeah, I mean, when by the time this episode goes out, the idea of the recent news about WeTransfer updating their privacy policy and their terms and conditions, allowing any content, I think it's come August, to be used for their training models for GEO or for generative AI and everything like that. So anything you share, you basically release any copyright by any kind of IP to WeTransfer to allow you to for them to use it. So I think there is it's shaking a little bit. It's shaking people's trust in it or understanding of it. And I know, I mean, even ChatGPT now, similar to you in a personal space, I'm using it, we've spoken before, as a nutritionalist, as a dog behaviorist. I'm using it to ask these questions to get a more refined answer versus going to Google. But what I've noticed more so is that ChatGPT will cite reference to the information that it has pulled. And so I think people see this and will think, okay, well, how do I get my information in there? But then you've got people who are using ChatGPT to create content or create things without citing or without, I suppose, supporting their what they produce. And this was always way back when my initial, I suppose, icky feeling that I had with generative AI tools, because as marketers, it's all about authenticity. It's always about being genuine in what you do. And so the way I use, generative AI is to help me with admin tasks and ideation. And yet, as we've said in the last episode, small business owners can use it to save time and everything else. So why wouldn't they go that extra step to appear in those searches if generations are now using it to find the answers to solve their problems?
Yeah. But then my brain, like, over analyzing it all, is like, so we've got this original content that's over on people's websites that we've been creating for years and years. And then we want that to obviously appear in the search results within AI. But then you've got this bit in the middle where, like you said, we're using AI to create new content that's essentially a mix of all of the existing content, right? Because that's where it's pulling it. Like,
and the techniques that I have learned of how you do that, is almost taking content that you had before, so blog posts, updating them, and actually putting at the bottom, I updated this on this particular date. So then when ChatGPT searches, it finds an up-to-date quality piece of content that's evergreen and pulls that in. So there is a way of optimizing what you've done before to appear in ChatGPT quite effortlessly, really. And we always say, repurposing and going back and reviewing what you've done. But equally, a technique is to ensure you're creating more qualitative content that appears on media sites, PR, news sites. So you're creating content that is upheld by qualitative domains and bodies. And then also to ensure you're using kind of data. Generative AI tools love data, they love figures. And so if you can include reference to statistics, numbers, any kind of data download, it's more likely to pick up your content because it loves that kind of stuff. So I think it's almost SEO on steroids. It's like it's taking it to another level, but ensuring you're doing all those SEO practices, as you said, like we've done before.
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess the positives of this is that you can create some really great detailed content that's going to help your customer. Because just like a bit of the research that I've done so far, and I guess the difference between SEO and what is it again?
GEO.
GEO. There's so many acronyms. It's still always going to be on people first, right? It's always on, we're creating content for our customer. And then I think of the questions that, I mean, I won't repeat some of the questions I plug into ChatGPT because they're random, but they're really the long questions, long tail keywords, we're basically calling them. And because I want something very specific or very detailed out of it, like and it always gives you like bullet points, doesn't it? And it always gives you a lot of fact and stats, like you say, background. But that in simple terms is people first. It's serving a purpose, a question that I've asked in finite detail to some degree. So if we can get good at creating content like that, then I guess you're really supporting your customer. You're really like helping them, making them feel that you're an expert in what you do, and spending that time actually either yourself as a business owner or outsourcing it to someone who is in that headspace and blocks that time out in their diary, because that's the actual work that they complete on a daily, weekly basis, and getting them to do that for you. So no tick boxing content anymore, like getting some really good quality content out there.
I wholeheartedly agree with you that it's always about the customer. It's always about writing for the person you're trying to communicate to. The challenge I've always had is writing in that way, or working with clients to write that way, but ensuring you're writing technically to optimize the content for search and to optimize it for Google. So, and I think this is then where the GEO comes in, that you could have a brilliant blog post that someone's written that really connects with the human at the end of it, but the title, for example, isn't question. Now Google is going to pick up a question in a title and in headings more so than just a statement. But you could have the best statement to open up a blog post as the page title and as heading 1, but Google is not likely to pick that up as much as if it were a question. So like I can't think of one on the spot and I waste time doing so, but it's almost thinking, okay, well, if, for example, frequently asked questions on a page, or using a question as a title is what generates results on SEO, it's what's going to drive ChatGPT as well. So that balance of writing for the human and attracting attention versus writing for the machines, I think is going to be really tricksy, or going to push copywriters and people all the more. And more so, you and I were chatting the other day about the changes in social channels, particularly LinkedIn first, where you don't use hashtags anymore. Most of your LinkedIn posts are relative with search terms. So whatever the way that you write, and the long tail keywords, so these long words that people would use in searches or in LinkedIn, are more likely to be picked up by LinkedIn's algorithm. Well, the same is now with Instagram. And whilst, hashtags got thrown away a while ago, I'm still dabbling with them because I can't let go of them. I'm a 90s girl, you know. It's
also still there as like a function.
yeah, it's really odd.
To disappear entirely before
you can't follow them. It's very strange.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, you're having to write much more simply and much more definitive as to exactly what it is the image relates to, or your service or your product or your offering, or what the information is that you're sharing. That doesn't grab attention. It's salesy, and people are going to turn off from that. That's not fun. That's not interesting. That's not entertaining. It's more educational, which works, but you've got to have that mixture. So the whole way that search is taking over social channels now, and then how it's going to affect ChatGPT is totally, you know, changing its way. It's, I think it's really difficult, more so for me, because LinkedIn has now suppressed company page posts.
Yeah.
And so now it's like, well, okay, I really need to rethink how I work social channels. And then that, you know, brings up a whole other thing. But I won't rant and moan about it. Let's move on, please.
Yeah, and also going back to like Instagram, for example, it's either salesy or, I don't know, like in my head, it's like a bit too simple. Like,
yeah,
wow, like to, yeah, I don't know. It's sometimes I'm like, also, I like internally resist it when it's my own channels, and I'm like, I'm just gonna do whatever I want. I'm just gonna,
because you can.
I'm just gonna do it. And I kind of hope other people do that too sometimes, because otherwise you're like living this life around these frameworks and guidelines, and it's not very, I hate the term creative sometimes, but it's like not very expressive, is it?
I mean,
like,
welcome to our worlds. This is what we have to battle to help our clients.
Yeah. Just one thing that I've got some notes to the side of me about going back to like blog posts and things like that. And have you ever used ChatGPT and it's given you, I mean, I love this, but it gives you like this, it gives you all the bullet points, short paragraphs, it gives you like comparison boxes and tables. Have you ever found it? So I seem to get it a lot. I must ask it certain questions where, yeah, I asked a question the other day, something that I'm learning in my own time, a topic I'm learning in my own time. And I asked the question, what is the difference between this and to this? And it did give me a comparison box, obviously. But the research that I've done on how to structure your content on your website, just as an example, so it's AI friendly and appears, is having clearly formatted content. So your headers, your H1s, H2s, H3s, which stagger down the page, to break up your post logically, obviously, because we always use subheaders, etc., in our content. Bullet points and numbered lists, which we probably already do already. Short paragraphs of 2 to 4 lines max. Tables and comparison boxes, because AI actually uses that. So yeah, depending on what your content is. And then internal links to your other blog posts. So that doesn't actually make me think that it's anywhere like majorly different from what we're already doing. Because you would put that in a blog. That
would be standard. Yeah, for me, it's not necessarily about, even though Google loves a table, I don't tend to use them very much, but everything else that you've said, I would implement when creating content.
Yeah. So that's good. I think sometimes with it is everyone's like, oh my gosh, now there's something else to do, like something else. So if you are looking into this, I would sit back and actually think, I'm probably already doing it without really realizing, you know, like keywords. I think if you really have spent that time talking to someone like us, or sitting down and actually looking at your audience, or really listening to your audience, you will know what words that they use to describe your service. You will know what questions they ask you immediately about what you do. So I say this a lot, but if I go to networking and I say I'm a marketing consultant, people will instantly go, ask you a question about social media. They'll be like, on Facebook. And so I'm asked all the time about that sort of thing. So they are my keywords, essentially. If I want people to find me and I want to do that work for people, then I would use them phrases and write content on them questions. So you probably already do know it and probably might already be doing it. It's just it might need formalizing slightly more or going into a little bit more depth when you're creating content, these keywords and things like that.
I agree with that. What comes to my mind is the effort and the time that it's going to take.
Oh, yeah.
Particularly small business owners who don't use a copywriter or who rely on their team to kind of help them with it. You know, you typically have someone that's pretty creative and good at writing that is happy to create content for you, or be it video or whatever else. It's the, I suppose, additional stuff to get seen in Gen AI tools. And as you say, to sit back and just wait to see whether or not that it will make the difference, but I think it's just really early days, and to jump on it, I think is going to take people a lot of time and effort to go the extra lengths. So I think, yeah, definitely, you know, pull your socks up and get your SEO working really well, all the tips that you've said, but maybe just hang fire and just see how, because Gen AI is just changing all the time. I think this is the thing that makes it so unsettling, or makes it quite difficult to, you know, the tips and techniques we've shared could be completely different in a couple of months' time. So, and I know SEO changes, but not that dramatically when it comes to AI. You know, it's shifting so much.
Yeah, and SEO has been there for time, hasn't it? Like it's an old age term and task, but then
updates. Yeah.
The way that we write over time as well. But yeah, go just like actually as a business owner, just sitting back and thinking about the words that your customer uses to describe your service versus the words you use, I think is a really quality task. And I always advise people to do that, because I think you can easily slip into this place of creating content or blogs that you write based on your terminology, not on how your customer is going to search anyway. So I think just doing that task, and again, just going back and really listening to your customer every time that they are approaching you or you're in front of them, I think, yeah, that will be a core task that is always going to be there.
Yeah.
So the habit of doing that and being really conscious of that and being really aware, because you can learn so much from it in terms of then how you write, and then you just finding out the new stuff about etc. and apply technical on top of layer, if that makes sense.
A brilliant tool to support that is answerthepublic.com. It's an online site, and the free version is limited, but you kind of get like 2 or 3 searches. But basically you can put in what we would refer to as a long tail keyword, or a string of words, and it will come up with the most popular and least popular questions that people have asked around that topic recently. And it covers how, what, where, why, when, you know, and it's really it's beautiful to look at, as well as the insight that it gives you, and you can kind of go deeper when you click on the different aspects, but it really gives you an insight very quickly into the kind of things people are searching for. Because as you say, if you don't align with what people are putting into Google or what people are putting into ChatGPT, you're never going to get your content to tally up with their needs. And it's back to basics, really, of understanding their challenge and their problem, and hitting that.
And also just going into Google an incognito window, which means that you haven't got any of your cookies and search history in there, and typing in
Yeah.
questions that your customers are asking you, and seeing what sort of content pops up, and having like a separate thread in ChatGPT and doing the same in there and seeing what comes, like acting as your customer is such a
pretty as well, really.
Yeah, valuable task to do. Let's see if my notes say anything extra.
I think as well, doing that with the incognito window, one of the clever things to look at is if you scroll slightly down the page once you've put your question in or whatever else, Google will come up with what's called SERPs, so search engine result pages. So it's kind of 4 or 5 other questions that like-minded people have asked in relation to what you have asked. And sometimes you can then get a bit of creativity of, oh, someone asked this or someone asked that. And it's the string of words that people are using that you can then start to filter into your content. And it's smart and it's free to do this. So it's just worth scrolling down a little bit more. And
it's called people also asked, isn't it? People also asked.
That phrase I've never heard of, so that's new to me.
Yeah, I think that's the like it's the little title.
Oh, what it phrases it. Okay, got it.
Yeah. I can't see anything massively. So my little bit of research that I did before we hit record. So optimizing for SGE, which is Search Generative Experience, the same as the other acronym we was using pretty much. Google's AI snippets now pull from pages with clear answers. Going to be doing that anyway, hopefully. Well-structured Q&A formats. Content that uses tools like schema markup. Do you want to explain what that is, Hayley?
I've heard of it. It's kind of the back end that Google uses, I believe, to figure out whether or not it should push your page to the person asking the question.
Yeah, well said. I don't think I could have said that in such simple terms. You can add a short FAQ section to the end of each blog.
A web developer has recommended this to me, and he uses it with all his clients. And I use it with one of my clients. It basically, if you take that SERP idea that you get with Google, those additional what people ask, you're throwing that into your pages and using that Q&A format. So if someone were to ask the question, it pulls on that piece of information as the kind of the top answer. So it's quite a clever approach.
Yeah, do that on service pages, but not on blogs. So
yeah, I think the service pages, I think it's worth doing because it allows you to tap into other kind of keywords.
Use simple what, why, how structures. Start blog intros with, in this guide, you'll learn. Go deep, not wide. You're aiming for depth. Address the topic thoroughly and avoid surface level tips. Originality. Actual experience, examples, charts, and client stories. Yeah, that makes sense. Relevance. Keep it timely and connected to your services.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know where you've researched, but I don't disagree with any of those. They all make sense to me.
Yeah, there's nothing else that's like massively standing out though. That's like, oh, we need to like shift entirely to like a new way of writing or anything like that. But let's see.
Yeah, the only shift I see is the whole kind of trying to get more qualitative content written with PR sites and media and things like that, because some organizations won't have anything newsworthy to create a press release for, and you're not going to pay out for an account on a media site with an annual or monthly rolling figure if you've got maybe 2 or 3 press releases to throw out. If you're not that kind of organization, it's not to say you won't have anything newsworthy to share, but to turn that into press release that's almost a dedicated media push. And Sanina, who's we've had on before, would probably be able to talk more on this. But I think that's going to be the hardest thing for people, is if that type of platform to share content is going to be what's needed for generative AI. I think that's going to be hard for small business owners, for our audience.
Yeah, and also my head instantly goes to probably a little bit cynical, but like, what is the criteria of AI, and in terms of which sources they're selecting? Is it based on how many hits that website gets over a course of a month, like how much traffic it generates? Like, there's probably going to be like an ad revenue to it eventually. Like,
yeah.
So you just, there's all that I think it's like, how much effort do you put in as a solo, I'm talking literally for myself here, as a solo business owner, into changing the way that you write for AI, versus if you've got some level of ranking already on your website that you've worked hard for, and you're not having a chance at appearing anyway, because there's all these other big hitters above you. Not saying that's the case, but like, my head does go in that way, go to that place. Not like don't bother, but give it some time and let things pan out, maybe, Cal.
Yeah, I that's a good shout. I think it's really hard because in my head I'm thinking, well, this is, we think about the next generation that's coming into the workforce. We could be 5, 6, 7 years away from this really embedding, and people like us, or people who are younger than us, maybe 10, 15 years younger, who have been using ChatGPT or other tools to Google or to search. This is just second nature to them. They will use it for almost everything that they do. So in 5 to 10 years' time, it's going to be deeply embedded into their workflow, into their roles, and hopefully their organization. I say hopefully as in it will allow people to be more productive and to be more timely with what they do. However, the rate that AI is shifting, this could be 1 to 2 years away. So I think there's benefit in holding back, but just keep listening and keep learning and keep understanding about it. I'm not flying the AI flag all the time. It dips to half mast with me because I'm not always a lover. But I don't think it's going anywhere as yet. You've got the government schemes and the AI EU Act and everything else, EU AI Act and everything else. It's not going away, but I think to keep educating yourself and understanding about it is not a bad idea, rather than time and effort wasted in changing everything up now.
I just had another thought then when you was talking. I really hope that you appear in the AI source results based on how much you use AI, because after the weekend, I'm going to be ranking number 1.
You're going to be right up.
Yeah, just my website at the top, because it's helped me.
I mean, if that were the case.
Get on it, everyone.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Do you ever see those reels and memes where it's like a business owner looking like really happy with themselves because they said please and thank you to ChatGPT? So in the robot apocalypse, they're not going to suffer.
They love me.
That's literally me.
Yeah. And yet the amount it's costing AI, Meta, or whoever, whatever you're using, it's costing just to say thank you.
I know.
But my sister-in-law sent me that meme, and she was like, "This would be me. Honestly, the robots are going to love my ass because I say please and thank you all the time." I'm like, yeah, okay.
I asked it something about my cat the other week, and it was so nice to me. It said, "Your cat is really lucky to have you." I was like, I know a bit mean to it sometimes, though. When it messes stuff up, and you're like, "No, that's not what I said." Like,
I thought you meant your cat.
Oh, not my cat. Never.
Yeah,
and I'm like, be polite.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, the robots, you need them on side. I mean, it is interesting, and I appreciate we're digressing slightly from SEO and GEO, but there was an interesting conversation I read, but it was a Q&A between people discussing the recent response for OpenAI version 3's shutdown, and that it actually dismissed the order to shut down, and that it tried to it almost went into safeguard mode and protect itself by not shutting down, and it wouldn't adhere to the demand of, no, we want you to shut down right now. And I've read a couple of articles about this where the Gen AI tool is actually dismissing the prompt or the order and doing something completely different. So watch out, kids. The Terminator may not be too, Skynet and end of days may not be too far away.
No, that's not good. Oh, I was going to go on to a movie that I watched, but I'm not going to because we'll be here all day. But
what was it called?
I'm really rubbish with remembering movie names and stuff. But it was like a end of time type of movie, and there was loads of Teslas that were just bombing around the streets by themselves and causing havoc. And that's what I've got in my head now.
Okay. Well, on that happy, cheery note, I think we've covered SEO, GEO, and a sprinkling of AI there. So
that's taking over the world.
Indeed.
Well, I hope that was helpful. I think this isn't the only conversation we're going to be having on this.
No.
So when this goes live and you're listening to it, please throw the questions out there, throw the thoughts out there to us, because we are more than up for helping. And I guess just as marketing consultants, Hayley and I are in this world and we have conversations with lots of different people. I was just saying to Hayley, I partner with an agency who potentially is going to be on this podcast and talking about paid advertising, and they were talking to me about this 3 weeks ago. So there's lots of people out there that are doing deep dive work which can help you and summarize things. I think just listen to your customer is all I'm saying. Like that ain't ever going to go away. So do that first, and then ask experts where you need it, and people will be there to help you. So yes, episode complete.
Nice. Thanks, Kelly.
Thanks everyone for listening. Thanks to you, Hayley.
Thanks to you, Kelly. Speak to you soon.
See you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.